In the wrestling world, the people are represented by two separate but unequally important groups. The wrestlers and bookers, who literally do all the hard work, and the fans, who endlessly nitpick and overanalyze everything they do. These are their stories.
Hey! It's Warhorse, and you need to shut your mouth, open your eyes, and clean out your ears, because it's time to listen to the Raw and Order podcast. That's right, they're bringing you the best in all that meaty podcasty goodness in one, what is it, an hour? Two? Who cares? Who gives a shit? You need to listen to it right now, or else Warhorse is gonna, roll your ass!
Welcome to another episode of Raw and Order, the Wrestling Booking Unit, the only wrestling podcast on the planet that is broadcasting from what sounds to be a war zone right now. You might not be able to hear it, but it's going off. It is 4th of July weekend here in the States, and we like blowing shit up. I am your host, Detective Mark Sparks, and I'm joined, as always, by my partners in crime fighting. Starting off, District Attorney Vincent K. What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm a little late because I was blowing shit up and had a fire.
Yeah. Tends to happen, as one does. Yeah. Also joining us up north, JLB. What's going on, man?
Happy Canada Day to all my people up north. We unfortunately couldn't blow shit up, at least not in Quebec, because we had a whole crazy smog warning and the forest fires and whatnot. So shit was getting blown up, and it was trees, and so therefore it affected our air quality, and a lot of fireworks were canceled due to this. So
you didn't listen to him, did you, Smokey the Bear?
Yeah, only you can prevent.
Only you.
I mean, it wasn't people
Just
that.
you.
It wasn't people that did this. It's climate. Climate apparently doesn't listen to Smokey the Bear, and it wasn't actual people's doing. So
No, it doesn't matter. Smokey the Bear says only you can prevent the forest fires.
Yeah, our firefighters are doing a great job from around the world. So they can prevent them. So they'll clear them out.
Only they can put them out. They
They can't prevent them. That's fair.
Only Justin can prevent them.
What I would point out is that this seems to me to hit at the heart of a fundamental difference between Canadians and Americans, right? I mentioned how it sounds like I'm in a war zone here in Nebraska. Specifically, I gotta move my camera a bit because I am not in the center. There we go. Close enough. We're not technically supposed to be lighting off fireworks here in my city yet either.
Okay.
But that didn't stop Americans, right? They said we're allowed to buy them. We're gonna light them off. Up there in Canadian lands,
Is Omaha allowed day of? Is Omaha's law only day of?
No, I think technically it starts tomorrow. It might have technically started today, but they've been lighting them off for like 3 days now. So, it was either they start tonight or they start tomorrow. I'm not sure, but it doesn't stop them here.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of rebellious Canadians who are doing it as well. It's just a lot of stuff was canceled.
Yeah.
So.
My point is, America was founded on rebellion, right? And so we see them more as guidelines than actual rules per se.
No, that's fair.
Pretty much everything's that way.
But anyways, Money in the Bank 2023 was this weekend, and that's what we're here to talk about.
And what a great freaking show! It's going to be hard for the worst. It's going to be hard for the worst for me, but we'll see what happens.
I don't know if it'll be super hard for me, but anyways, we'll get into it. We'll talk.
Did you just say you were super hard during the show?
Well.
Hold on.
Say the phrase. Let me just say the phrase. Yeah. Mommy. Sorry. Mommy. Sorry. Mommy. Sorry. Excuse me. Mommy. Sorry. But just to start off, To let everyone know, we do our reviews a little different than other podcasts. We don't go match by match and say, here's what happened, here's what we thought. We do go through the worst of the shows and then the best of the shows. And we talk about it that way. So there may be matches that don't get talked about much at all. There may be matches that get talked about a whole lot. Like JLB said, the worst section is going to be a little tougher because this was overall a pretty good show. Fabe and I were talking after Money in the Bank yesterday, just on the phone about it. And as a whole, the worst matches of Money in the Bank are better than the worst matches of Forbidden Door.
But the best matches don't touch the best matches.
We're not as good as the best matches. And so where it falls in the grand scheme of things, we'll debate later. But we're going to start off with worst match of the night. Now, it's important to remember, worst match doesn't mean bad match. It's all a sliding scale. Even if they were all A matches, right? One of them was the A minus, and that ends up being the worst match of the night, right? I don't think these were all A matches, but
it's very hard to place this. I would say because on a particular match, because it seemed just thrown in so that we could get a particular performer in Great Britain who is very, very over right now, and have him get a win after a recent loss where it was a pass-out loss. I gotta say Cody versus Dom is probably the worst match of the night. Again, it's quite possibly the best match of Dom's career. Because Cody can pull four stars out of everybody. And the storytelling was very good. Very, very good. Also, Ringside Entertainment was
mommy, sorry,
through the roof. But in all reality, I'd say that's the worst match of the night.
Yeah, I think I would have to maybe agree with you. I was going towards that or the women's tag, just because of the outcome of the women's tag, though, was more like, whoa.
Yeah, I think that was a more impactful finish, and that's why I put that over the women's tag. Otherwise, the women's tag as wrestling was probably a little lower than Cody and Dom. There just wasn't much to make you invest in Cody and Dom.
No, that's it, especially since there was no Lesnar. I was like, what was the point of this match then? I mean, sure, it gave Dom to look great.
Huge
and,
rub.
Here's
what
I will say. This will make you happy that there was no Lesnar, that the Lesnar tease was false. Because my theory going into this whole Cody versus Dominic Mysterio was that it was actually trying to set the table up for Brandy Rhodes to make her WWE appearance, that then set up a mixed tag down the road. And we didn't get Brandy. So we may not have got Lesnar, but we also didn't get Brandy. And so it's a win from that standpoint.
For now.
For now. Yeah. Who knows? I agree. This was the worst match of the night. I also... And I know I talked to Fabe about this, and for me, the Gunther versus Riddle match was pretty low on my card. Gunther's always good, and Matt Riddle's normally pretty good. I just don't think there's chemistry there between the two of them. And
there is no there.
And in the end, it told a story of Matt Riddle's foot injury, and that came to be the reason that he lost the match. And I guess I get that, but to me, the match itself didn't really do any favors to it. So, but yeah, the Cody versus Dom was what I would choose as worst match of the night. We will move on to most predictable moment. Somebody had a hard time climbing a ladder. That's a predictable moment anytime there's a ladder match. Oh, I'm so tired. Climbing the ladder is 1 foot. Oh, I missed a step. Oh, geez.
Well, I mean, it worked really well, especially when they were handcuffed. When the two were they couldn't climb up. They were handcuffed with each other, so they couldn't go up. So that's where it really made the most sense when they struggled to go up the ladder. Who was it? It was Becky and
Bailey.
Bailey. That's it. Most predictable.
My most predictable moment is athleticism from Ricochet and Logan Paul at the same time against one another. I think that became a thing after Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I'm a little surprised.
That spot, though. That spot was crazy.
I'm a little
Royal
surprised.
Rumble is this one.
This one.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Both.
Yes. But I'm a little surprised that they didn't build an actual program out of it between Logan and Ricochet.
And they haven't the whole time.
And they haven't. And they really should. I mean, it's
Yes.
program worthy. But
well, I mean, they still could. I mean, Logan didn't win Money in the Bank, right? Everyone thought Logan was going to win. Logan was going to win. Logan was going to win. So I think it's very possible. It could be something that they'll do for SummerSlam, maybe.
I think Logan was brought in to knock the scent off of LA Knight and Damian Priest. I think it was just purely that people were going, it's LA Knight or Damian Priest. That's all it's going to be.
And then they bring in Logan Paul just to create. Oh, maybe it's Logan Paul. Yeah,
And,
I didn't hear anyone saying they thought Logan Paul actually was going to win it.
Well, I heard LA and Logan.
To me, it was everyone I heard was LA or Damian Priest, and 50% of them were right.
And they were 100% right as to the two closest to winning it.
Yeah, I personally would have gone. Here's the. I would have gone the other way. I would have capitalized on LA Knight at the height right now that he's at.
Yeah.
And everything. I understand why they didn't for storyline purpose. They've got a storyline they're telling, and that requires Damian Priest to win it. But I would have had LA Knight win.
Well, are they though? Because I still feel like they can still build up Finn and Damian as a thing to go. Whoever wins out of that faces Seth. Or yeah, sure, they could do a triple threat, but why would
they're telling the story of the breakup of
Judgment Day.
Judgment Day, right?
The adjustment of Judgment Day. Mm-hmm. It does seem as though maybe it's more of an adjustment.
It may not be a full. Here's the deal. Let me tell it this way instead. It's telling the story of Finn becoming distant from the Judgment Day.
Yes.
Right? Because now the story he'll tell is, I could have won that match, and you had to come out there with your stupid briefcase and distract things and cost me that match.
Well, there was also a clear cost when he was going to fake run in when Finn was on the ropes.
Yes,
so that was pure Damian. Yeah. Damian still could have been like, oh, no, I was just out here to support you and cause ruckus with Seth. Yeah. But once he did that initial, try to run in, I'm like, well, now you fucked up. Now Judgment Day is...
And that's my point is, that's the story they're telling. And they needed that Money in the Bank briefcase to tell that story. I get it, right? And now the story going forward...
He's also very viable, at least transitional champion.
Mm-hmm. The story now is going to be, I think, Finn breaking off on his own, possibly turning on Judgment Day, actively attacking them, getting his revenge.
Edge will be back, and he'll join with Finn Balor to attack Judgment Day.
Yeah. Or possibly just being like, guys, I'm on my own. I'm out of here. Obviously you guys didn't care about my well-being for this. You know what I mean? You were so focused on your own advancement that you didn't care that I could have won that match and I could have been champion. So anyways, it's something like that. So that's why I said, I understand why they did it. I still would have done LA Knight. There are other ways that you can tell the breakup of Judgment Day storyline, I think. Without necessarily needing the briefcase. I understand why they did it. I just would have done something different. Most predictable moment, Gunther winning for me. since he debuted on the main roster, he hasn't lost a singles match yet.
Right.
Neither has Roman in 3 years.
I don't think Matt Riddle was the choice to do it. I understand the storyline they were telling with the bloodline. There's a really cool synchronicity with the bloodline storyline that we can talk about later. But otherwise, like I said, I mean, someone's going to have a hard time climbing a ladder. Someone's going to throw someone else into a ladder. Those are all predictable moments of Money in the Bank, you know? At some point, there's going to be a ladder that gets tipped over with someone at the top of it. I will say, and this might be something that belongs in like the worst move or something like that. The one thing I didn't like in the women's Money in the Bank ladder match is there was a big focus on doing a move with a ladder, like doing an attack with a ladder that happens to leave it in a position that later got used for something else. Like, oh, someone's standing here, I'm gonna hit them with the ladder, and they sidestep, and now the ladder's conveniently laid across two other ladders. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was a little bit too opaque what they were doing. You know what I mean?
A little obvious.
Yeah, obvious. That I have to pretend to hit you with the ladder here so that the ladder ends up laying perfectly across this gap so that then later you can do a sunset flip powerbomb onto that ladder.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Just have to throw one of those out every now and then tonight.
Yeah. That sunset flip powerbomb was, I feel, incorrectly identified as a code red. Because I think there's a big difference between a code red and a sunset flip powerbomb that they weren't getting, but they talked a lot about it being a code red, and it was not a code red. Anyways, moving on. Overhype of the night.
Civil War? I mean, it's Civil War. It's overhyped, and the war's not over. Like, we don't have completion to the storyline. We have the start to completion. We're in the end game now, if you want to use Civil War references.
Jesus
We're
Christ.
in the end game now. But I don't know. I think it's Civil War.
Yeah, to use more historical Civil War, this was a victory at a battle, but this was not the end of the war at Appomattox.
Yeah. Fine, don't use my reference to the Avengers, dick.
Listen, man, I'm a nerd in many, many ways.
Apparently Avengers is not one of them.
Avengers is one of them. Also, Civil War is one of them.
Actual Civil War?
The actual Civil War. I don't know if I can put it there, but it's tough. I mean, maybe Cody versus Dominic was overhype of the night only because
Of Brock.
Was the worst match.
Well, yeah.
I mean, there was rumors of it. It wasn't anything that WWE said, so I don't know how much you can call it WWE level hype.
No, that's true. It's almost like a Tony Khan thing. Well, I'll just ride with what the rumor reel's saying. We're going to put this match in. You guys will buy because you want to see the Brock. That's fine with me. People will buy tickets as well. So
Here's the deal. I feel that I'm fairly in tune with the rumor mills. I didn't see any rumors about Brock actually being there, so I'm not. Wasn't until you in our group thread said something about no Brock. I guess the Brock rumors were wrong. that I had heard anything about it. Right?
There was definitely Brock rumors, though. I could go back and send you
no,
them.
I'm not saying there weren't. I'm just saying that I didn't hear them, which means they weren't as prevalent as I think you thought they were. Here's the: I thought Brock was going to show up. I thought Brock was going to show up, but I saw nothing in any of my rumor mills that suggested Brock was actually going to show up. Right? There was none of the Sean Ross Sapps or the Wade Kellers were reporting anything about Brock Lesnar. It was just one of those things that I think was brought up maybe by some wishful thinking fans, but they didn't come across my thing at all. So for me, I wasn't expecting Brock to be there. I thought maybe he would, but it wasn't like I had a reason to think that.
Damn it! The Twitter handle was WKRD Wrestling. So I'm like, fuck! It wasn't one of the main guys. So you're right. Yo.
And so that's the deal. Is like for me, there was nothing that came across any of the legitimate sources that I ever see that suggested it. And so like you said it, and I was like, oh, that's the first I'd heard that people were thinking Brock was actually there. And so I wasn't expecting it. That being said, I still think it was an overhype because we talked about it for weeks. And while it was a fine match, it was fine. Mm-hmm. It was just another Cody Rhodes victory. The whole thing that we kept hearing when he didn't win at WrestleMania is that he didn't face enough adversity. That Cody needs to face some adversity before he wins the belt.
Right.
This wasn't adversity. This was him beating up some young punk who really didn't deserve to be in the ring with him. Right? Where was the adversity? You know? And if this had featured more interference by Rhea Ripley and it was effectively Cody overcoming a handicap match, maybe it would have been adversity. But it was just Cody beating up a
you can't even blame it on his arm because his arm was full-fledged healed. He took it off in front of Dom. Was like, "Oh shit, that was my plan to break your arm. Now I can't anymore because it's fully healed. Let me try again." But no, you ain't no Brock, Dom. You ain't no Brock.
I can't really say the overhype was either of the Money in the Bank matches because they both basically delivered what we expected them to deliver. So, I mean, I guess Cody Rhodes is the closest for the overhype for me.
You could also say Logan Paul.
You could say Logan Paul
delivers, but this is just not a match that he's gonna deliver. He's not gonna win though. He's not there enough to win.
But
yeah, I think I'll go with that. I'll go with Logan Paul because as soon as Logan Paul was announced, I was like, okay. Well, then again, it was a good tactic that they used to do the swerve as well. But
yes.
It definitely knocks some people off the scent. Off the
scent for sure.
Yep, they got worked.
Because Cody, I'm probably gonna do the Cody Dom match just because of the rumor reel. I know you said you didn't see it a whole lot, but everyone was kind of thinking of it. We all know Cody and Brock ain't over. That's still gonna happen. Although WWE didn't mention it, I still think the essential potential Brock being there was an overhype because it was well enough maintained that everyone just assumed. So many people everyone messaged me, "Oh, where's Brock? Where's Brock? Where's Brock?" You know, and I even mentioned to you guys, "Where's Brock?" So enough people were thinking it. Enough people were thinking it that Sean Ross Sapp didn't have to mention anything.
They had a lot more focus on Cody post-match than some of the previous ones had. Now, they continue to do that with the rest of them. But prior to that, they hadn't had that extended post-match celebration out of the ring.
Right. That took like a while. I'm like, okay, Brock's coming. Brock's coming. Brock's coming.
Which made me think that Brock was coming. So they definitely swerved the crap out of us if we thought, oh, Brock's supposed to do this? Okay, well, I'll wait and watch.
I thought Brock was going to come out right when he was, oh, and then, you know, it was
Truth be told, I thought it would happen right after
the win.
And Smarks and I talked about this. No, I thought it would happen just after a Crossroads was hit. I thought you'd hear the guitar play, and then it didn't matter if Brock came out or not, because it'd be a roll-up win for Dom, gets him a win, and then you could have Brock could have swerved him, and
I think they really did.
But I mean, your head obviously as well.
They really
Here's my
missed out on
fantasy
that.
booking. It happens during Cody's entrance.
Yeah.
He's standing there, whoa, and then out of nowhere, Brock F5s him in the entranceway, and leaves him in the pile.
That was your fantasy booking on it?
That's my fantasy booking on it. Yeah.
Jesus.
Mine would have been Brock swerving him.
He doesn't even make it to the ring, and Dominic wins by disqualification, or I don't know.
No
No, he wouldn't have gone into the ring, so
contest.
he would have had to have made it
Right.
to the ring to start the bell, and then
Well, for disqualification, he wins by what's the word? By default? No,
Forfeit.
forfeit. There we go.
Yeah.
Because his opponent couldn't make it to the ring, and then we would have had Dominic climbing the turnbuckles and posing as the
I would have
victor.
loved to have heard the boos a lot more when Dominic would be on the mic, because that crowd was fan-fucking-tastic. Holy shit.
It was a very hot
Like,
crowd.
Very hot crowd, and they were the show, as Cena mentioned. They were the freaking show, because that's obviously Cena we'll get to afterwards, because that was also a shock attack. I did not expect that at all. But yeah, the crowd was fantastic. Just start to finish, they were there. Like,
I wonder if he was like
full-fledged
already
on.
over in Europe filming something, and so it was just a short hop flight for him to get to London for it or something.
Very possible. Yeah.
I also do want to point out that WWE books, what was this, the O2 Arena? Is that what it was? The O2 Arena sells out 18,000 tickets to the O2 Arena. And then AEW books Wembley Stadium and sells currently over 65,000 seats. And all of the sudden, WWE starts talking, maybe we should do WrestleMania in London.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, if WWE thought 3 months ago that they could do WrestleMania in London, they would not have booked the O2 Arena for Money in the Bank.
Correct.
They would have booked a bigger arena, right?
For sure.
They booked the O2 Arena because 3 months ago they didn't think they could sell out a bigger arena. And then AEW comes along and sells out the biggest arena. Almost sells out.
I think that might just be somewhat coincidence. I don't think that was there in. It's just because they haven't been there for 20 years. They haven't been there for 20 years though, so they know they would have got a pretty big crowd. I don't know about them.
They were there last year in Scotland. Scotland's part of England, but they haven't been in London. The trip from London to northern Scotland is closer than Smarks and I.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! Okay. Yeah.
Jesus.
It's not like they were.
The longest trip.
I would bet a significant.
I got played off
portion,
the marketing then. My bad.
A significant portion of the attendance of that 65,000 seats sold out currently for
Was
Wimbledon.
pre-sale.
Well, I would bet a significant of them are people from Scotland. I would also bet a significant number of them are people from Ireland, and a significant number of them are people from Wales, right? Guess what? They were also in Wales recently. They
know that they have an audience in England.
And here's my other thing is, you say, oh, they haven't been there in 20 years. They know they could have sold out a bigger arena. Then why didn't they? WWE has never shied away from booking big arenas. So why did they book a smaller arena at this point if they knew they could sell out a bigger arena? The answer is they didn't think they could sell out a bigger arena. Their market research and all of their little number counters, bean counters said, we don't think you can sell out a bigger arena right now in London. And so let's book a smaller arena.
Yeah.
And then AEW came along and said, "Nah, we're going to book Wembley," and showed that you can sell out, or at the time nearly sell out. It's not totally sold out, but can sell a lot of tickets to a larger arena. And suddenly, for the first time ever, WWE has started talking, oh, let's put WrestleMania in London, right? Um, you are deceiving yourself if you do not think that that is at least partially based off of them seeing
definitely part
AEW.
of the conversation.
Yeah, but that's still a big Money in the Bank is still a big pay-per-view though. You know what I mean? Like 18,000 is roughly Bell Center numbers, okay? Give or take 1,000.
It's a big, I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying that they are now talking WrestleMania there. WrestleMania. And they were not talking WrestleMania there 3 months ago. They were not talking WrestleMania in England a year ago.
Well, I mean, keep in mind, WrestleMania.
They've made a decision that at least Survivor Series or Royal Rumble can be done in Lincoln. Or in Lincoln. In those can be done in Lincoln. London. And they're potentially thinking something that they want to sell at least 50,000 tickets to, if not more, to England.
Yeah, here's the thing, and I'm going to point this out here. If they were to put a WrestleMania in London, right? It would be in Wembley.
Is that the only one bigger?
Is that from
02? 50,000?
Wembley is the largest, I believe. Let me pull up the.
They could do Wimbledon. Wimbledon, I think, can hold 50,000 in their main arena. The tennis.
Yeah.
I think.
List of stadiums in the United Kingdom. Wembley's number 1, total capacity up to 90,000.
Right. Well, the London Stadium is 80,000.
London Stadium 65.
Oh, well, Google
That could also be it.
Twickenham Stadium is 82,000, so they could do that. I mean, keeping in mind, remember that they're this year they did 72,000 each night, something like that.
Right.
So that's what they would be looking to do at least for this one. So that rules out the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium or the Murrayfield Field Stadium. They could do Principality in Cardiff. They could do Old Trafford in Manchester, but neither of those are London, and they specifically said London, England, which leaves them with Twickenham or Wembley as their options for
50,000 plus.
Yeah, for 60,000, 70,000 plus people. Now, Wimbledon is tough because Wimbledon as a stadium actually isn't that. The thing with Wimbledon, its capacity.
Main arena.
I'm trying to get, but Wimbledon Stadium is actually not the one.
Oh, you want to see my Twickenham?
Oh.
No, that's not what I meant at all.
Yeah, Wimbledon Stadium is not what I'm looking for because it was demolished in 2018.
There's one called the Royal Albert Hall, which honestly wouldn't be that big.
All England Lawn Tennis and Croquet Club. That's where it technically is. But it's not a huge stadium like you expect it to be.
I thought it did some 25, 30, 40,000.
Currently, and I'm trying to find a.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's it.
They'll go Twickenham just so they can't say so that the AEW marks can't say they're just copying AEW.
That's it. I think maybe they were impressed with the crowds. It could even be a pure instinct on what happened on SmackDown. And
Wimbledon
then
Court
also-
12's capacity is 42,000.
42. Okay, that's close.
So
that's not that's Wimbledon.
yes, that's their biggest court.
Okay.
I mean, keep in mind it's a tennis venue by nature, and so its courts are significantly smaller than like a football soccer field would be,
Right.
Which is what all the other stadiums are, which are also significantly smaller than an American football stadium. You know, in terms of field size. So, but no, I guess, to get to the heart of what I'm saying is WWE would not be talking WrestleMania in England if they hadn't seen that a pissant t-shirt company just sold 65,000 seats in London. Their bean counters probably got a harsh email signed VKM saying, what the fuck are you guys telling me we couldn't sell out Wembley and now these fuckers come and do it? And now that I've said that, I'm gonna notice that someone who's on this podcast 3 minutes ago just redeemed a no cursing. So starting now,
Yeah.
no more cursing for 10 minutes.
Giggity giggity. So let's move on. What's our next
Moving
category?
on. Next category: worst performance of the night. Single solitary performance, like as a whole.
Riddle?
Probably Riddle in my book. I was trying to find someone that I would choose instead of Riddle.
Right, yeah, me
And
too.
I
I
just
was
couldn't come to someone. Like,
Liv is close, but I'm gonna go with Riddle. But Gunther can carry a match, so
that's fair.
I'm
Yeah,
not
but
upset.
that's. And this time around, it's not Dom. Hey, because Cody can also carry a match.
I thought I think Dom was great. I think his hit and run BS was fantastic. That was an abbreviation. That wasn't a swear. BS.
it
No, that
stands
works.
for bullshit.
Bullsheets.
That's what they put on their bed.
Bullshit. Sometimes they have to make their beds, change the sheets.
What did the DJ name his son? Eric.
Irk.
Eric.
Irk.
Eric. I love it.
Such a dad joke.
It is. It's
Definitely
great,
your
though.
category. It's great. Yeah, Riddle.
Yeah, it's probably Riddle. And not a bad one. He was legitimately injured from what I understand, so.
Oh, okay. With his actual foot? He actually injured his foot?
Yeah, it was a mild sprain. It wasn't like.
Maybe if he'd wear shoes.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
He already explained why he doesn't wear shoes, because he can't feel his feet properly. Or
Then
one of them.
then the
I can't
solution
feel
is
my
not
feet
to
properly.
not wear shoes. The solution is to get medical attention and wear shoes to protect them. 'Cause here's the deal: like people who have that disease where they can't feel pain, right, are actually in
Well, just in his
constant
feet.
danger. Constant danger, because when you can't feel pain, when you can't feel things, right, you can't actually feel when something goes wrong. Um, which is why he should wear shoes, probably with ankle support, because if he can't feel one of his feet, then he can't feel when it goes wrong.
That's fair. All I have now is I can't feel my feet when I'm with Gunther. Gotta love it.
I can't feel my feet when I'm with Guns.
you. Gotta love it, bruh. Gotta love it.
Bruh.
So, moving on to worst move of the night.
This would be Raquel and Liv's finish on Ronda, where Raquel does the power bomb, then flips Ronda up into the ropes so that Liv can do the whatever her finisher is, the
jump through DDT thing.
The reverse DDT thing. The timing was atrocious on this, and made me go, well, God, if you guys wanted to lose the match to Ronda, that's how you do it, is just, give her plenty of breathing room in the middle of your finisher.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm at.
Well, also, Ronda took the finisher really weird, too.
Yes. Just as a whole, the three of them did not make that very well.
Flipped forward too much, because it's not actually a DDT. It's a jump through flatliner, basically.
Yeah.
So she's supposed to flat face bump it, and instead she DDT'd bumped it and flipped over. My worst move of the night was whoever decided to hire whatever people they did to gimmick those ladders, because none of them broke.
None of them broke.
They all no-sold all those moves the entire night.
Side note, I also am buying all my ladders from Home Depot in England from now on.
Yes. Apparently their ladders don't break. So that's my worst move. Whoever gimmicked those ladders. Get a different job. You're not good at gimmicking ladders.
Worst move. I don't know. I would probably. I mean, I always kind of hate when Liv's in the ring, but I can't recall a specific move that I hated from Liv there. Although they did win, I remember her doing something stupid with the turnbuckle, but I just can't recall. I remember commenting on it when it was happening. Yeah, I'm not sure. You're both going with the same thing? You're the...
No, for me.
Fabe's was the timing of their finisher. Liv and Raquel's finisher. That was his worst move.
And yours was the actual ladders.
Mine was the ladders. Whoever gimmicked those ladders. They did not break. Not a single ladder actually broke yesterday.
Nope. That's some good ladders indeed.
And we had a frog splash onto a ladder draped across from the announce desk to the thing that didn't break. We had a sunset flip power bomb onto a ladder that did not break. We had at least two more big ladder spots like that. None of them broke. Not a single one of them broke.
Yep, the whole oh no, that was onto tables. One of the tables broke, the other table was still good, but that's because they far reached it. Their equipment that they use over there is pretty sturdy. Pretty sturdy indeed.
But like I said, all of my home equipment is going to come from England.
It's going to be quite costly. Quite costly.
That is going to cost you.
Is it worth it, though? I mean, the ladders don't break in England.
Nope. Maybe they only don't break in England.
Oh no! Why you gotta ruin it, man? Oh.
They're limited warranty, only enforceable in the British Isles. Moving on to worst booking decision of the weekend.
Limited title matches. And that's gonna happen with Royal Rumble and Money in the Bank. That's going to happen with those two pay-per-views. But at the end of the day, we didn't have tag titles. We had the World Heavyweight Championship. We had the women's tags. We had the IC title. Yep. So I guess it did have 3, but I don't know.
Which two did we have? We had the World, we had the IC, or the US,
the women's tag,
IC, and the women's tag. Okay.
The thing I complained about with the booking was that the Usos won a Roman match in Roman styling. I thought it was slow and boring and plotting at multiple points, very very Roman style. I would have liked to see them make Roman play their game. But I like work rate.
I will point out there's something very nice about that match, finishing that styling and all that stuff, because the finish of it was exactly, almost to the posing, the same as the finish of the match when Jey Uso was the first person to pin Roman back when they debuted. Back in, what was it, 2012?
I think they mentioned 2013. Yeah.
2013, whatever it was. And I'm pointing out almost to the pose with Jimmy Uso going back to by the ropes and crouching down, and Jey Uso doing the Uso splash over the top of him onto Roman and then pinning him that way. It was almost beat for beat exactly the same.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. I'm sure that was 100% purposeful. You know, there's no way they accidentally...
Yeah, or else they would have done the double splash too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, for me, I talked to Faye about this on the phone. I think why they did this, but from a kayfabe standpoint, it made no sense for them to not have Damian Priest at least threaten to cash in on Roman.
Right. He didn't even have Roman. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Like, I get why they had him come out and threaten to cash in on Seth and everything, but at the end of that Roman match, you had the Universal Champion laid out in the ring, out for minutes on end. And this would not have been the first time that a Money in the Bank holder ran down to the ring and tried to or successfully cashed in a match on an opponent that's already been taken out by his competitors, right? Mm-hmm. After that match. And so from a kayfabe standpoint, it made no sense that Damian Priest, the opportunist that he is, did not at least come out like, maybe this my time, should I cash in on him? And then Roman rolls over and rolls out of the ring, and then he goes, oh no, maybe not, or whatever. You know what I mean? And so that's why I talk about it in the booking decision section, because it was a decision that they made backstage to not have Damian even threaten to cash in on Roman.
I would even say the worst booking decision is him not coming out with a ref when he was coming out to the Seth.
Well, the argument there is that he would have been entering the match, turning it into a triple threat, because there was already a ref in the ring who was up and capable, right? Unlike in other times when the ref has been knocked out and the Money in the Bank person comes out with a ref because he needs a ref that's not knocked out. But anyways, but like I said, I understand the reason why they didn't do it in terms of real reasons. But from like sitting at home, suspension of disbelief, my thoughts are like, man, if I'm Damian Priest, I'd cash in on Roman right now. Win yourself the Universal Championship, the Undisputed, or whatever you want to call it. Win yourself the Undisputed off of Roman. Be the first person to beat him in a singles match. Yes, it's a dirty victory because he's already been beaten up by his other people. But still, you'd be able to do it. You'd probably have the Usos running interference for you because they wouldn't want Solo to come in and stop you from doing this, right? So it just made no sense to me. Anyways. Did we all get our worst booking decision in?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Moving on to worst moment of the night. This is the last of the worsts.
It was the last of the worst. It was the worst of the worst. Sorry. Worst moment. Did we do worst match? Yeah, we started with worst match. Worst moment. I don't know, man. There's a lot of good pop here. Cena coming out. Then Grayson Waller. Just my dirty taste in my mouth for that 15 minutes there. I was okay with Cena. It was really bad with Grayson Waller.
Yeah, I don't even know why. I for some reason had an inkling. I'm like, oh, he's gonna mess up Grayson. Grayson's gonna come. For some reason, I don't know why Grayson, but then it's just because I'm like, it's either Miz or Grayson Waller that's gonna come out. But then I'm like, maybe they won't do Grayson because he's still, they don't want to make him look bad. But it's Cena, it doesn't matter. Yeah, just kind of pointless. Just.
They did go for a little bit of cheap pop, Australia versus England.
Right.
And God bless, the Londonites did not fall for it at all. They were just like,
yeah, whatever.
I mean, yeah, that'd be cool if they went there too.
Yeah. I think
West Australia. I was like, yes.
I think it mostly was like, they're like, oh, fuck, we've got Grayson Waller here and we don't have any plans for him. We flew him all the way over here. Go out and talk to Cena.
Somebody call John.
John just showed up. Hey, guys, I'm here. Do you want to use me for something? All right, pal. We got 15 minutes. Let's go.
We'll take it out of the women's matches.
Can we take off another women's match? We'll give him more time. We have none more. We have no more.
I just happened to show up wearing my gear, guys. Do you have any spots for me?
Yeah.
Just happened to have my gear on.
I think that was a new shirt too, so they were getting ready for that.
So for me, that's where I'm at.
Since I can't talk about Pete Rosenberg on the kickoff shows, we don't do kickoff show for worst moments. Worst moment for me personally was seeing Finn Balor on the verge of winning the World Heavyweight Championship and then not.
Yeah, I can hear that from you.
Yeah, he was right there. Freaking Priest. Worst moment for me. Yeah, I guess the Grayson Waller coming out. I enjoyed Cena there, but Grayson Waller coming out was a bit lame.
Honorable mention to worst moment being Dominic Mysterio's slowest ass 619 ever, but it's not only an honorable mention because Cody caught him in the 619 because he was so slow, and they even pointed it out. Wade Barrett was like, he didn't have quite the speed on that one he normally does. No, he never has any speed.
He never has any speed.
He lumbers along like a ant. There's me hitting my nerd cred again. Moving to the best moment of the night. Is it anything other than Roman losing?
I don't know, man. That spot might get maybe my OMG moment with Ricochet and Logan Paul. So best moment.
The moment I saw Rhea Ripley.
Shayna Baszler fucking turning on Ronda Rousey had to fucking be up there.
It's up there. I just have
because it was totally unexpected. It was such a random way that Shayna turned on her, and I'm like, huh? What?
So,
what?
Have you read the behind the scenes as to why?
No, I have not.
Happened?
No.
So apparently, Ronda Rousey this last week gave WWE a hard date for her for the end of her contract. Like she's like, I'm done on this date. I'm not re-signing. I'm done. And one of the things that she wanted, more than basically anything in this run for WWE, was to feud with Shayna.
Right?
So
she's not the only one that wanted it, I'll tell you that much.
Because of the hard out date, when her last day will be, and the desire to feud with Shayna, they had to do the turn now in order to have enough time to do the program. Right?
Right.
Or they don't.
Do we know what date it is?
Their person, because
they
never catered to their other wrestlers.
It hasn't. That's indeed an argument that you could have. It hasn't been stated what the official hard out date is, but that it just kind of it kind of snuck up on WWE that they weren't prepared in advance for it because they thought that there was still a in the running for her to continue on, and then for her to come along and give a hard out. Now, there's also a possibly connected report that is related to the UFC, because the UFC has very suddenly found themselves without a star women's fighter.
Oh, no more Nunes? Let's get Ronda.
Because Nunes suddenly announced her retirement and vacated the championship.
Right.
And they're suddenly, clamoring for what do they do to revive their flagging women's division. And apparently one of the thoughts is basically what you said. You remember that Ronda Rousey that used to be so big in our sport? Maybe we should get her back. And so it could be related to that. It could be that
oddly owned by the same company now.
Mm-hmm.
Yo.
That Ronda came to them and said, "Hey, I've been approached by UFC about returning to UFC and being the star there. And now that Nunes is not there, I'm not scared to fight there anymore." So was that me throwing subtle shade?
Subtle.
Very
Is that
subtle.
What that was.
Yeah, it was super subtle. It was the most subtle you've ever heard. So subtle. Anyways, so that might all be behind it. I don't disagree. I have a hard time putting the absolute sudden out of nowhere turn from Shayna Baszler with no previous like hints at turning.
Right.
Above the ending, the beginning of the ending of the bloodline for certain, right? Because there were a lot of people that thought this was going to end with either Jimmy or Jay turning on the other. You know what I mean? Likely Jay. That
I don't know. I kind of thought it might have been legit almost the end where Solo would have helped out the Usos officially.
There was a chance of that.
We speculated that at the beginning.
Yeah.
It just it is not how that went.
But in the end, my point is, if it had gone, say Jay turns on Jimmy, and this whole "you're out and I'm out too" was all just a ploy by Roman, to get Jimmy, out, then the bloodline storyline continues, right? This is the crack in the wall of the bloodline now, where there's blood in the water for the bloodline. So this is, as far as I'm concerned, the beginning of the end, the true beginning of the end for the bloodline. Like, the first step was them turning at the last pay-per-view, but this was the big one. This was where it like officially became real, and that's why it also importantly was the first time Roman's been pinned in 3 years.
Right.
And so that's, I think, why to me it gets higher on the best moment meter. But Shayna turning was awesome, and I'm excited for it. It's weird for me to say anything excited and Ronda Rousey in the same sentence. But I am excited. You know, I know Liv getting injured a couple months ago really threw their whole plans for the tag division into disarray. And so Ronda and Shayna winning was really rushed together for that. And then now rushed to them feuding. But so
it's amazing how much background noise he has is once he mutes his mic.
Yeah, he mutes his microphone. Suddenly it goes quiet.
I'm like, what happened?
It goes from
now he got offended.
But yeah, he's talking at his microphone or at his phone, and it's not coming through. Not coming through at all. Yeah.
Did Fabe give his best moments?
Not sure.
Guess we'll never know.
Rhea Ripley.
Well, I changed my choice. It's not Roman. It's Rhea.
She's always a fucking star. She's just great. Put her in any dynamic scenario. She's just. We'll take it and make it pure
seems
entertaining.
About every couple of months, Rhea Ripley shows up and unlocks a fetish in me that I did not know I had. And apparently I'm into goth biker chicks, and I didn't know that. And then she shows up yesterday, and I don't know what to call the look she was serving, but whatever it was. So,
whatever it was, you liked it.
You didn't see my face very well. Moving on, breakout star of the night. Rhea Ripley, mommy. No, sorry, mommy.
Zelina Vega. I now, okay, mind you, she's not like a newcomer of any sort, but this is the first time I've actually seen Zelina Vega just out wrestle some of the women that were in that match, to the point where it made her look like a star, especially after that whole Puerto Rico debacle where she just was made to look like a fool. Although, yeah, she got her Puerto Rico moment and so on. But I thought Zelina just looked fantastic. And this reminded me of like Zelina back in NXT sort of ordeal. So Zelina Vega is my breakout star.
Zoe Stark. And I know Smarks doesn't like Zoe Stark, but she was great last night or yesterday.
She was better than she's been for me. I'm still not what I'd call a fan, but I was impressed with her. My choice is going to be another women's wrestler, but Io Sky.
Hey, that's fair.
I think.
Yeah.
I think not only did she make a really good showing at the event, but she also won.
Literally broke out of Damage Control.
Mm-hmm. Although in the post-show media, which it's important to note that AEW and WWE do their post-show media very different.
Quite different. Yes.
Right.
AEW walks this really weird line between kayfabe and reality, where they will answer questions about booking decisions and about, when you found out you were supposed to win and all of that stuff, totally blatantly on it. But then, like, if a kid, hi, this is Jimmy from Jimmy's Wrestling YouTube channel, asks a question in kayfabe, they will answer in kayfabe. And so they walk this line. WWE's post-show medias are always 100% kayfabe.
With the exception of Tripp saying nobody was hurt, and I'm not going to name the name of the person who rolled their ankle as they were leaving.
Mm-hmm. But I'd still think that's in kayfabe.
A little bit kayfabe, yeah.
They didn't have anyone run a real injury angle, so it's still a little kayfabe. But so much that I actually I feel that WWE screens their questions more than AEW does. I think AEW just kind of lets people ask questions and they'll answer them, and WWE wants to make sure that they catch the gotcha questions, so that they don't break kayfabe on them. But in the post-show media, Io and Bailey played it off like Damage Control is still just fine. This is our Money in the Bank briefcase, and all of that stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see how they take that storyline. But I was really impressed with Io through the entire match, and then she won it, and she was who I hoped would win it. So she's my breakout star of the night. And it's fitting because Money in the Bank really is one of those matches that's about setting up the next breakout star. So, so moving on.
It's about time Io gets her shot, so that's great.
Best performance of the night.
John Cena. No, I'm just playing.
Mommy? No, sorry. Mommy? Sorry.
Yeah, that was almost like a 60s look because with her hair,
it's hard
like
not
a
to
60s
say.
gothic.
It's hard not to say Gunther or Cody Rhodes because they always put on 4-star and above matches. That said, I'm not going to say one of those because neither of those were their best matches by any means. And I'm going to say the best performance of the night was still LA Knight. That dude brought more charisma to that ring than half the other wrestlers bring to their lives. He just
Yeah. Whoever made Becky's ring gear. Best performance.
So what was that? Just the Money in the Bank colors? What was that supposed to be?
No, that was probably Jean Grey, the Phoenix from X-Men.
Okay.
Some people were pointing that it's also Rogue's colors, and it is similar to Rogue's. But if you look at it, the design in the yellow is very, very reminiscent of the Phoenix Jean Grey.
Okay.
So, in reality, I always love WWE seems to do it more than AEW, but I always love trying to go and see the inspiration behind ring gears for pay-per-views. Liv Morgan's ring gear was inspired by Ginger Spice from the Spice Girls, the Union Jack outfit. Zelina Vega's was from Warhammer 30K or 40K. One of the Space Marines, I think, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. There were some other ones. Bailey's was something, but I can't remember what it was. But, anyways, for me, best performance tonight, I am going to give this, and I'm going to lean heavily into the word performance for this. Best
You're going Roman.
performance is Roman. It was not the best in-ring performance. It was the best performance.
He pulled the Charlotte going out of the ring and just being so disappointed.
Yep. So that for me wins best performance of the night.
But he also did the cliche, "Why can't I beat you? Sit up in the ring and just sit there," which is always one of his things. Oh,
it's like, why isn't this done? I've done everything. What do you mean you kicked out? Like,
every single match that happens. It's like, dude.
Well, why can't he beat you?
Well, especially after the
he can't
stack.
beat anyone without the Usos.
Especially after the stack on stack, I was like, oh shit, this is done. And then like they kick out, and I'm like, and then you see fucking Roman's face, like, what? What do you mean?
Ooh, another best moment is finding out that Drew McIntyre resigned.
For sure.
So here's the deal. The reports have it he has not resigned. That they still are a part on the thing. But they did make a very big statement on air. Michael Cole said, and I quote, rumors of him leaving WWE have been greatly exaggerated or something.
That's it. So that's why I thought he resigned.
But
he resigned, rather.
The reports have it that they're still in negotiations. That being said, it was his home country, effectively. And having him there would be a huge pop, which it was.
Yes, it was.
So it was very easy to convince him, hey, can you come out, make an appearance, make a big pop?
I'm gonna change mine. Later. I'm gonna say it's the London crowd.
That's a good choice.
That crowd is a Chicago level crowd. Chicago, a Philadelphia. That's a huge, wonderful crowd.
Yeah, I mean that's the crowd definitely deserves props. That crowd was just they honestly I would argue that was probably the best.
Which pumps me up for the crowd at Wembley.
Yeah,
right.
I
well, that was only 18,000 exactly.
Yeah.
So my God,
more than triple that.
Jesus Christ.
Or it's the same amount of crazy, which in turn means that I am really saying John Cena because he was the one who gave props to the crowd.
Or even the whole Bailey song they sang. Oh, hey, Bailey, ooh, I want to know. I'm like, I thought I only heard this song at weddings. Now I get to hear it on wrestling. Let's go.
They knew the entirety of Cody Rhodes' song. Like,
it was louder than the actual song. I didn't even. I couldn't even hear them. I heard the fans. I'm like, oh, well, this is interesting. I'm like, I guess we got the best Cody Rhodes theme. Oh,
sorry,
I didn't realize the lines weren't something Cody Rhodes.
I was just distracted watching a different angle of Io Sky's moonsault off the top of the ladder onto everyone, and I was distracted. Uh,
I was distracted by Rhea Ripley, so we're good.
and then another angle of the sunset flip powerbomb. It wasn't a code red. Oh, and there's mommy.
Oh, there we go.
Now I'm really distracted.
I guess you got to get a Rhea Ripley costume gear for the wife.
I can't let her know this fetish. They're mad. She won't let me watch wrestling anymore.
What do you mean? She'll randomly hear the podcast and boom.
She doesn't listen this far in.
I still take issue with them referring to Rey Mysterio as a founder of
LWO.
the LWO. It's a nitpicky thing of mine. He wasn't even in the first 6. He didn't even make the first month of the LWO.
No, that's it. And when you said that, I'm like, oh, Jesus. I'm like, yeah, so they were way off.
There were 7 other people first. Anyways, under hype of the night is what we're moved on to. The London crowd, baby.
As an underhype of the night?
We didn't talk about them at all.
That's fair. Now I'm hearing myself.
Echo!
Echo!
Shut up. I thought I had it, and I didn't have it. I thought I had it, but I didn't have it. So I didn't have it when I thought I had it. Under hype of the night.
I mean, maybe it was the women's tag match because of that Shayna turn. That completely caught me off guard.
Yeah, they really haven't had a build for those two being opposed to one another. What did
No,
you
that's
just say,
it.
Gus?
It's just a video of what we talked about earlier.
I'm going to watch while we're listening. I'm still trying to figure out my underhype.
Oh, snap. Yeah, that's legit intentional.
You know, I will say for my underhype, it's going to be a person. And this is going to directly contradict, in a way, my breakout star of the night. But I still think Io Sky is the breakout star, but I will say Zelina Vega as the underhype of the night. Because she was the only one put in this match who came in without a program developed around it, or without a partner, for lack of a better term. You know, Io had Bailey, Zoe Starks and Trish Stratus were together. Mm-hmm. Becky was in a program against Trish Stratus, so there's a storyline going on there. Zelina was just like odd man out in this. Just like, hey, go get in this match and, I don't know, win or not, you know, whatever. And she managed to, like JLB said, show people that she really should be paid more attention to.
Show off and show out. Hey, guys, I was in NXT where I kicked ass, and I'm still that same woman. Give me what I want. Give me a freaking storyline, because I will kill it. Because honestly, there's not a whole lot of women out there. They keep using the same ones. And I'm happy for do a thing with Zelina and Zoe Starks or something. You know what I mean? Like, give her something. She certainly proved it enough with this match that she should be more looked into. As long as Vince doesn't, decide to rebook shit all over the place. I think she definitely deserves something happening, because she was freaking fantastic.
She was indeed.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with JLB's first one though and say Shayna Baszler.
Another underhype of the night. Whoever makes the double-sided tape that the women relied on to protect them from having wardrobe
An incident?
malfunctions, because it put in extra work on a lot of these outfits. It put in a lot of work and managed to come out undefeated. So, totally underhyped. Whoever came up with the idea of doing the handcuffed through the ladder bit.
Oh yeah,
that person's underhyped. Yeah.
But moving on, here's the one that I know JLB's been waiting for: the OMG moment of the night.
Need I say more? Ricochet and Logan Paul, baby. That freaking, not only to go on the ropes, but then how Logan hit that table was a bit messed up. But yeah, just out of this world. It was freaking Kenny Omega Ospreay spot worthy. You know what I mean? Like,
is it scary that you can make that comparison and you might actually be accurate? Like,
it happens once every few years.
Those two, given a 15-minute match, could put on 15+ minute match could put on a 5-star match in WWE.
Legit.
I think they could. I think they could literally get Meltzer over, which is weird.
I don't know if I quite go that far on it. They're good. Logan Paul by far is one of the best
Celebrity
free agent signings that WWE's had in forever to bring him in. I mean, the dude's a freak of nature in terms of athleticism. But I don't know if he's polished enough to say that level yet. That being said, I was rewatching that a bit ago, and it seemed to me like the ropes were looser than they normally are at that. They barely held it together for that Spanish Fly. Because the ropes
it was also crazy.
So
they landed on the ropes, though. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it had to have been a split. Obviously, they knew what they were going to do, but it was still like, okay, we got to go here, and then I got to grab you quick, and then I got to shoot you out.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
like I said, I just rewatched it, and my point is the ropes were sagging a lot more than they normally do, and that didn't help them because I think they were relying on more of a springboard off the ropes, and they didn't really get that.
Oh, okay. That would have been crazier.
Yes. But
I don't know. How often do we have two people on the same side of the ropes like that, pulling their full force? Yeah, you can't count on the turnbuckle because you have the turnbuckles, so it's heavy. It's balanced out for the weight. That was legit on the side of the ropes. So, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. I after rewatching that one and then rewatching the aired version of the Sunset Flip Powerbomb, I'm more surprised that Zoe didn't break her neck in that Sunset Flip Powerbomb.
I genuinely thought you do. If you slow it down, you can see her catch her hands.
But like she flips backwards and her head almost goes through one of the gaps of the ladder. And all it would have taken is her coming forward with her head stuck there, and it makes me. Anywho's,
I want to see that part.
I mean, the only competing thing for OMG moment right there is the turn and the surprise of Drew McIntyre. No. McIntyre and Rhea. Because
I mean, Rhea was what
I'm going to say 87% of men went, "Oh my God."
Make me want to say, oh my God.
Hey.
Gotta appreciate the dedication to the amount of O's there.
I was
That's all
spot
I'm
on.
saying.
Yep, that was Usher. You did Usher proud.
I
For
worked
sure.
in radio when that song first came out, so
Usher.
I am very, very familiar with how many O's are in it.
Tell me quickly how many O's are in it without trying to do it in your head.
Oh,
Right now.
I don't know the exact number. I have
DJ,
it.
what kind of DJ are you?
I have it instinctively built into me. It's kind of like how many nans are in banana. I know when it's there.
3.
Banana nana nat. Nope, that's too many.
Shit. Yeah, it's only 2.
Finally, best move.
I was going to reserve this for what JLB just said, so I don't know what to.
I mean, you could still say it because that's still going to be mine. Although no, that move was still better. There was also one in the women's match that was pretty crazy. I think it might have been the sunset flip though. That was stupid. It just looked worse because the ladder didn't break. And Zoe's head just bounced on it.
No ladders broke.
0.
Best move, choosing the local hardware store over Home Depot for your ladders.
No ladders were harmed in this production of this event.
Obviously, they're all still usable.
Best move.
Vince is like, oh, I saved some money here. Yeah.
Bringing Drew McIntyre out for the local crowd. Best move.
I mean, that's a good move on behalf of the company.
Best move, Gunther going after the ankle.
I mean, yeah, that's if anyone's gonna do that properly, it's gonna be Gunther. They mentioned it throughout all his throughout that entire match. He wrestles 24/7. He eats, breathes, and sleeps wrestling. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, so he sees an injured ankle, he's gonna go after it.
I mean, no wonder he's lost so much weight. I don't think wrestling is very nutritious, or
Yeah, it's not very good to eat, nor does it provide much rest.
yeah. From a legitimate standpoint, best move: Io Sky handcuffing Bailey and
That was
Becky
fun.
together. That literally won her the match. It's hard to argue that that's not the best move.
No, that's fair.
I did enjoy how she had to piggyback over Bailey to get to the top. I was kind of expecting the genius of the Sky to springboard, but whatever.
Or yeah, even her moonsault, where the ladder wasn't properly in place, and she's like, "Well, I'm already up here." Whoop! And I'm like, "There's the EO I know and love." What a champ! Both Money in the Bank matches were fantastic. The men starting it off, I was like, "Okay, who's gonna top this?" The women's just as good. I don't even know, to be honest with you, which match to me was better. I think they were both pretty on point at being equally as entertaining. I think the women's had more spots even, technically. So they were both just great Money in the Bank matches.
Moving on to best booking decision.
Hot take, Logan Paul. The dude is well hated.
Like putting him in the match, you mean?
Yeah, just getting him exposure.
Yeah, it was a nice swerve to eliminate some doubt that it might be Damian winning it. So that was also pretty spot on all around. Best booking decision. Maybe giving it to EO. No, I'm gonna go back to my what I've wanted to see for so freaking long. Shayna Baszler freaking knocking out Ronda and bouncing. Because guess what? I guess I'd have to thank Ronda for this, since that was her whole reason. That's probably why they're speeding it up. And now we're finally gonna get a Shayna versus Ronda. So thank you for doing this and making it completely unpredictable. I didn't have to go through a whole 3 months of potential turnings and then getting annoyed at the fact that it's eventually going to happen. This was completely caught me off guard, and it was fantastic. So best booking decision, them doing it just out of nowhere, Shayna turning on Ronda, good time.
My best booking decision is a booking decision months in the making, and that was pairing Dominic with Rhea Ripley. That was the best booking decision. Well, here's it rejuvenated Dom's character, right?
For sure.
It 100%. Like, I hated Dom a year ago.
Yeah.
I was like,
I think she rejuvenated the freaking Judgment Day. If it wasn't for Rhea,
she carries the Judgment Day.
Legit. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, it's the problem the Judgment Day has outside of Rhea and Dom is they don't have a focus. They don't have a purpose.
There's not even really a leader. I mean, there's two guys who are kind
well, that's the whole point of the Judgment Day. They specifically
said there's not a leader. We're all equals in Judgment Day.
That unfortunately also makes it.
It's more there's no personality. Finn and Damian don't have personalities on the mic. They're very boring and stale. I'm sorry. Don't get mad. I could already sense and you fuming. I could see fire underneath.
I'm not
that
angry. I just
like
disagree. I disagree vehemently. I think Finn's got a ton of personality. I think we're going to see a lot more of the personality once he gets away from Judgment Day. But the thing is, there's been no focus for Judgment Day aside from their feud with Edge, which needed to be done long before it was. Like, they should have come out of that and said, our focus now is getting Dom and Damian the tag belts, a singles belt for Finn, and Rhea gets the women's belt.
She already has the women's.
That's our focus. And that they should have been like the belt collector team.
That'd be cool.
They should have been the fucking Undisputed Era.
Right.
Draped in gold, right? And that they weren't. And so I hope this is not necessarily the fall apart of the Judgment Day as a whole, but I hope Finn separates away. I don't necessarily care if he turns on Judgment Day, but I think he needs to get away from Judgment Day. I don't think he should turn face. I think he should turn more heel. I think he should decide that the Judgment Day is weak. And that he wants to show what really happens when you're truly vicious. Because the Judgment Day should have been Blackpool Combat Club, but they really felt more like Dollar Store House of Black.
Damn. Dollar Store House of Black. Damn. At least he didn't say Wish. That would have been worse. But Wish is worse than Dollar Store.
And then finally, match of the night.
I feel like we could give several this title.
Yeah.
I feel like the obvious decision is Civil War. I don't think it's the right decision.
I think it was too long, maybe.
For me personally, I deeply enjoyed the Gunther Matt Riddle match. I'm also quite the Gunther mark, so it's probably not the best match, and probably the best match is the men's Money in the Bank or the women's Money in the Bank. Seth Finn was good. It just left me appetized for something better that I did not get. I'm gonna go officially. I'm gonna say it's the men's Money in the Bank. Unofficially, it's Gunther versus Matt Riddle because I'm a mark.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead.
So a lot of it, I think, comes down to whether your criteria for match of the night is work rate or storyline or a mixture of both. Because I understand what you're saying about the Civil War not being match of the night if your criteria is work rate.
Correct.
At the same time, the Usos were freaking fire in that
storyline. Yeah, except for it wasn't Roman's rate. If it was an Uso match, and I said this once before tonight, if it was an Uso match, that is a 5.5 star match. If it's designed around the Usos' pace of work, it's not. It's designed around Roman's pace of work to make Roman look dominant and still lose. But
so
yeah, I mean, in terms of work rate, it's the men's Money in the Bank match. And I get what you're saying with storyline. And storyline, it's all things WWE and storyline. The best is the Bloodline right now.
Yeah. I am going to say a Money in the Bank match. However,
the women's.
I'm going to say the women's. Even though the women's was about 2 minutes less.
There was a lot of great storytelling in that match.
There was a great mix of storytelling and spots. I do point out I still have an issue with the we're gonna carry this ladder and hit you. Oh nope! Now we've dropped this ladder specifically in this spot. You know, and that was a little bit for me.
I feel like they only did that on the outside.
There were 3 times at least.
Oh,
3 times at least.
Okay.
They did the Becky one. They did it the ladder that Zelina went through on. Mm-hmm. Or Zelina did the
Zoe went through on.
The sunset flip on.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And then the Becky one specifically, it fell out, and Becky had to lift the person up to reset it into the place that it was supposed to be before she hit her move on it. And I can't remember the third one.
It was on Zoe Stark. It was the Zoe and
did Zoe get all the ladder bumps? No.
Zoe and Trish trying to hit.
Oh, Trish got one too. Yeah, with
Becky with the ladder, and the ladder fell. That was between the two. Yep, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, and thus, yep, Becky had to hit Zoe with it dangling down instead of.
Well, she first tried to lift it up back into spot.
Yes.
I was like, you're not going to do that. I mean, leverage is one thing, but that's still a lot of weight that you're trying to deadlift up.
Especially as much weight as you've lost.
Yeah. But I still, as a whole, storytelling-wise and spots, I thought that was a slightly better. It's very slight. I'm just looking at cage match and like. There's not a ton of votes yet, so it's not definitive by any means here. Cage match has the Civil War as their highest rated. They've got the women's as the second, and the men's behind it. It's by less than 0.2 of a point.
Oh
right?
my god! Okay.
It's very close.
Yeah, both fantastic matches. Like
then they have the IC match. And then it goes to World Heavyweight, Women's Tag, and then Cody versus Dominic is their worst match currently. But like right now, the highest voted one has less than 400 votes, it's really hard to put a ton of weight in the votes when there are only 400 votes. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whereas, like, if we were to, say, go to AEW's most recent Forbidden Door, their match is 800 votes on the Will Ospreay match. And so they've got a lot more votes, so it's a little bit easier to say, okay, they kind of know. You know what I mean? They're more representative of what people are actually thinking.
Still can't believe he gave Okada and Daniel Bryan like a 4.75 or something. I'm like,
at 4 3/4. I'm not surprised that he gave that 4 3/4. I am surprised that he gave the International Championship 4-way match only 4 stars. It blows my mind that wasn't also a 4 3/4 star match. The 10-man tag was 4 3/4. And this was better than the 4-man or than the 10-man tag, in my opinion.
Yeah. 10-man tag was fun, but the 4-way was better. Obviously, Omega Ospreay was better.
But in the end, that's
Meltzer, though.
Well,
Meltzer.
it also
Meltzer
highlights the fact that this is still just one man's opinion.
Exactly.
And that's why I like to look at the cage match votes and theirs, because it's not one man's opinion. It's
by the fans.
It's the fans. And if 630 people say Bryan Danielson and Kazuchika Okada was 8.23 out of 10,
when they're fucking wrong. 800 of those people are fucking wrong.
I don't know. 800 of them said that the Kenny Omega Will Ospreay was a 9.59 out of 10. So
that's fine. That's fair.
I will point out that the cage match voters, almost 600 votes versus a little over 600 votes between the Danielson Okada match and the 4-way, have the 4-way rated higher.
Oh.
So, not by much, but it's currently rated higher. So, I don't discount them too much, but I find that a little bit more representative of what people actually think.
Yeah.
Now, fair. I'm not as down on the Bryan Danielson versus Okada match as you guys were. Again, to reiterate, I cannot help but feel it was designed to be a setup for a match down the road, because New Japan likes to do things in groups of 3. They tell one that's a slower pace, and then one that's more of a barn burner, and then one that's a storytelling. And this was the slower pace. And now Okada's going to come back when Bryan Danielson is back from his injury, and he's going to say, I want a rematch. And they're going to have the match that we thought we were going to have this time. So.
And by the way, apparently the injury is much worse than expected.
Oh yes, it is. So. It is definitely not a fracture.
No, it's clean through.
That is a clean ass break. That is a guy who wrestled for 15 minutes with one of his bones not connected.
That's why
in his arm. It's nuts. Which I will also point out, I'm sure affected the pace of that match entirely. But
yeah.
No, I mean, given what we know now, that's definitely could have had a big reasoning as to why it wasn't as great as we were all expecting it to be, perhaps.
So, but on that note, that is all we have about Money in the Bank. Best pay-per-view of the week. Sort of.
Best pay-per-view of July.
July so far, yes, definitely. And it might. Yeah.
It's
AEW
definitely not
doesn't
on
have
the
another
worst
one till
pay-per-view of
August.
the year. It's not the
AEW
worst
doesn't-
pay-per-view of the year for sure.
No,
so.
it's definitely. Here's the deal: is some people will rate it better than Forbidden Door, and some people will rate it worse.
The way we spoke about this last night, and I use this analogy, you use A, B, C, D, E, F, all that stuff, right? Or not E, A, B, C, D, F. Regardless of where you put these two, they're going to be in the same category. So if you say they're both A's, then they're both A's. But neither of them are A pluses, and you're not going to, and they might have a percentage point difference in their scoring, but at the end of the day, on the 3.0, 4.0 scale, they're both 4.0s. They are not, they might be a 93 to a 94. They might be an 86 to an 85, so you have a B plus and a B. But they're that close together, and they're so very interchangeable that Smarks, being the AEW mark that he is probably going to say AEW is better. And me, being a little more of a WWE mark, might say the WWE one is better. I actually don't. I don't, because the best match on both, the one on AEW was significantly better than the one on WWE. But as a whole, the whole pay-per-views, I give both of them a B. One being a 85 and the other being an 84, or a B plus an 89 and 88.
I'm gonna do an example here. This is the WWE pay-per-view and the AEW pay-per-view match by match, right? And they both go down, and this one goes down, and then this one comes up, and then down, and then up, and then a little bit, and then up. And then the WWE one, the worst was here, and the best was here.
Yeah,
right.
Just right here.
The AEW one, the worst was here, and the best was here.
And they also had like
and the best
3
was
more
so
extra
good.
matches on top of that.
The best was so much good here. The worst was so that it ends up being an average of right around here, which is just
barely an AEW win. But
you see that it just barely overlapping there.
That is the closest I have ever seen two pay-per-views within a month of each other in terms of the quality of pay-per-view as a whole that you got.
Yes.
That said, the match of the year so far for me is Ospreay Omega.
Yeah.
Still to this day. The best story of the year so far for me is the Bloodline story. I'm ready for it to end, so they need to make it end, or I will hate the Bloodline story in 2023.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I think now.
A little bit about that too.
Yeah, Roman's had his 1,000 days. I feel this is the time to let him lose. Now they're not gonna. Reports have it that the current planned storyline is Cody versus Roman at WrestleMania.
Sorry.
And that means Roman holding onto that belt for another 8 months.
That's a long stretch.
It is a long stretch. So,
that passes him past Morocco, doesn't it?
Might. I don't have the page open, so I'd have to look. But, we don't have another AEW pay-per-view until All In London at the end of August. But we do have a Blood and Guts coming up in a couple weeks on Dynamite.
Oh, nice.
He just recently passed Pedro Morales. That would have been like Monday or Tuesday that he did that. And he can't. And to pass Hulk Hogan, he'd have to hold it till SummerSlam of next year, roughly. So he's already passed Pedro Morales. He did that last week.
So he's 4th or he's 5th? He's 5th, I guess, right?
Fourth. He's
fourth right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
At 136 days now, I think. 137, somewhere in there. Or 1,036, 1,037.
Yeah.
But he would need another full year to pass up Hogan at 1,474.
Yeah, so that ain't happening, brother.
And I know he's not passing up Bob Backlund at 2,100 days or Bruno Sammartino at 2,800 days. We cannot tolerate another 4 years.
I think pushing it another 8 months is pushing it a
rough.
lot. That's they're gonna have to come up with something to keep that storyline going if they want to do that.
Yeah, Roman's gonna have to be injured for a bit or something.
Yeah, well, they strip people of titles for being injured, but
yeah. I mean, I guess they could have him injured, they strip him of the title, and then he comes back and says, I never lost it, and wins it back.
Right.
Then setting up, I don't know. It's stupid to do it that way, so I don't think they should, but yeah, so Money in the Bank was good. We've had a couple good weeks of pay-per-views. Very, very happy about that. I've said it before. It's why we find it so frustrating when WWE is bad week to week on Raw or SmackDown, is because we see at these pay-per-views that they're so capable of doing good stuff.
Right.
That when they don't, it's so frustrating, right? But looking forward to them building up to SummerSlam. It looks like we're gonna get potentially Drew versus Gunther at SummerSlam.
SummerSlam is in Detroit. Is it Detroit?
In Detroit, correct.
Yeah.
you going?
No, definitely not going. I didn't go to like Forbidden Door in Toronto. I'm gonna go to Detroit for SummerSlam. I mean, I guess
It's our halfway point, bud.
it is our halfway point. This is true.
It is true. Totally unrelated to WWE. I finished my first playthrough of Road to Elite on
nice.
AEW Fight Forever.
What? Smarks talk about AEW on a WWE?
What?
Podcast?
Well, I have to refute. JLB is nonplussed with Fight Forever.
So hold on. I also got it on the Switch, and I found it really fun on the Switch. I was like, "Oh my god, this is such a better game for some reason."
Yeah. Again,
Switch is designed around plug and play, and this is a plug and play game.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is
straight up.
100%. That might play into it when you're playing it on your PS5. Your brain is trying to compare it to the sim style of 2K.
Might be
or
it.
whatever.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not. It's not designed to be that. And when you're playing it on the Switch, your brain doesn't have that comparison, and so it can see it as the arcade style that it's.
And you don't play the 2K games at all, so
I don't play the 2K
and that's
games.
Battlegrounds, but that's an arcade game. So
I technically have 2K22 that I bought for $2 at a garage sale. Haven't even installed it yet. But I've never liked the 2K games because they're built more sim style, and so it's all about learning these button combinations. Grapple, then AB, whatever, or whatever. Say AB. I play on Xbox. AB is what we, but and that's not what AEW Fight Forever is designed around. AEW Fight Forever is designed around more of an arcade style, where your button presses are, you got one for kicking, one for punching, and one for grappling, and short press is a weak punch or a weak kick or a weak grapple. Long press is a strong grapple or whatever. And then the direction you press on the other pad, on the left thumbstick, is controls what move happens after that. And so it's very much set up like if you were at an arcade and you had a big joystick in one hand and the 4 buttons here that you're doing it at, and it's just designed around having just stupid fun, right? Absolutely stupid fun. I unlocked the legendary finish for the exploding barbed wire death match. The legendary finish being I can choose now when I set up my own exploding barbed wire death match that to have the fizzled out finish.
Nice. How did you end up getting that? That was part of being the road to the elite.
The
I guess?
road to the elite, if you play, so the road to elite is all set up for basically a full year in AEW, right? Each block is the like 4 dynamites leading up to a pay-per-view, right? And each block has a path that you can go through it, right?
Right.
And each area has an A block, a B block, a C block, or a D block, right? So when you're in block 1, you can be block 1 A, B, C, or D, depending on the choices you make in the first match. When you move on to block 2, based on your choices, you could be in block 2 A, B, C, or D, right? And that's going to be what matches you have in that section. Based on your choices in that, in section 4, block 4, you could be in A, B, C, or D, and so on and so forth. The choices that I made had me end one of the blocks with an exploding barbed wire death match versus Jon Moxley that I won. And when you win that match, it unlocks the ability to then purchase in the store for like 30,000 AEW bucks the legendary finish to that match.
Oh fuck! I gotta start playing Road to the Elite. I didn't realize it unlocked more stuff from the shop.
Oh, it unlocks more stuff from the shop. I missed a chance to unlock one. I'd say missed a chance. I biffed a chance because the certain choices you make can unlock a match against Paul White, the Big Show, right?
Okay.
If you do those things, the match you have against the Big Show, storyline wise, you don't get any preparation for, so you potentially enter it with very low energy and all that stuff. If you beat the Big Show, you unlock him in the store to purchase as a playable character.
Right.
I did not beat the Big Show. I did not fare well against the Big Show at all. I finished the Road to Elite 19-4, right?
Oh shit!
So I did pretty well on it. But one of those 4 was against the Big Show. He beat my ass. I say Big Show, Paul White.
Yeah, there's a way to do Owens as well, but it's a different.
Owens is an unlockable through it. Someone else is an unlockable. Give me a second.
We'll do a cast on it and we'll randomly just play it on our separate systems since there's no cross-platform.
So Cody Rhodes you can unlock for free, not for free, but for
at the shop already. He's already
at
there
the shop right at the
Edwards.
beginning. Yeah, him and Aubrey Edwards you can unlock for just he's like 10,000 and she's 20,000. Brody Lee's one that if you get the right setup, you face him in a match, and if you beat him, you can unlock him. Paul White and then Owen Hart. Currently, those are the only unlockable characters that can be unlocked through that way. Otherwise, there are unlockable attires for some characters, and then all sorts of unlockable, like apparel and poses and stuff like that. DA Fabe will appreciate. What's it called? It's one of the poses, but it's like victory pose 34 and 35, the 2 ones there. You have to basically unlock them both, and you have to use them on a tag team because when you do the victory pose on the tag team, it's the fusion dance from Dragon Ball Z.
Yes.
And so you just have to assign them to a tag team so that when they win, they stand there in the ring and they do fusion. Ha!
And that's how they tag, or what?
It's the dance they do after they win, so it's the victory dance. You could set it as a taunt that they do in the ring, but it's really long. So, it's really fun to I don't know if JLB, if you've done this, but just scroll through all the different taunts and dances that they have in it, because you can identify a bunch of them that are very obviously wrestlers
WWE.
that we know.
Yeah.
There's one that's I'm trying to remember what they called it. It was like terrific. But let's just say it's the ring entrance pose. And it might not be terrific, but it is phenomenal.
That's
so.
However, the Creator Wrestler suite isn't the greatest. So for those of you who are into like WWE 2K creation suites and stuff like that, AEW's for now is very bare bones basic.
Well,
I've seen a Cena that looked horrible.
I saw a really good Eddie Guerrero. I saw a really good Damian Priest. Here's the deal: again, it's arcade based, not sim based, and so of course that's going to limit some of the.
Also,
things
2K has their own facial recognition thing too, right? So that doesn't, that's
fair.
not. Fair, right?
And 2K has had 23 generations of iterations to build on for it. But again, I think we will see. It's something that I almost guarantee we will see updates that add additional parts to it. I found it to be fairly in depth once you got past the looks, right? Once you get past the facial, because when choosing the facial, you choose male or female. You get to choose from about 9 different face shapes, right? You can go in and tweak each of those face shapes a whole bunch, all of this stuff. So you can create a fairly good variety of face shapes for them. And then you've got about 9 or 10 different hairstyles and 9 or 10, but you can do some tweaking. But once you get past that and you start going to ring entrances, you can tweak every part of the ring entrance. You can give them different clothes for the ring entrance versus their wrestling. You can give them different clothes for if you're playing Road to Elite when they're just like having a sightseeing moment.
Right.
You get to choose different poses for the ring entrance. You get to set up what pyro they have for their ring entrances. You can set up different filters that go on the ring entrance, like black and white or pixelated faces or things like that. And then when you can customize their move set down to individual moves. But then considering, because it's arcade based, not sim based, their move set is more limited just in general.
Fabe, that's how much Smarks is a fanboy. If you look at our Facebook, that is a horrible Eddie Guerrero.
That's not the Eddie Guerrero I was talking
okay.
about. That is not the Eddie Guerrero at all.
Okay.
The Eddie Guerrero I was talking about had short hair.
Okay, it was the newer Eddie. Okay.
That is rough.
That one is very rough.
Very rough. I was like, oh, Jesus. Oh, I found it. Hold on. The short hair one. That's cool. So they have to resort to actually making YouTube videos of how to create them because we don't have a custom creation suite, right? On online download things. Oh, man, a lot of these are bad. There's only so much you can do, though.
Well, I think a lot of it is it's still a little it's still unexplored how much you can edit the faces, because here's the deal, that there the one that you shared with the group, that's one of the default faces. They just took the default face and they added the hair to it. And you can actually go in and change the facial shape.
It more
Because
looks like you can't. There's no face forming though. This is the one you're talking about.
That's it. Yep. There is a lot of face forming you can do. You can change the cheeks. You can change the cheekbones, the cheeks, the jaw line, the eyebrows, the eye shape, the eye size, eyebrow shape,
Oh, okay.
the ear
All right.
shape, the ear size. You can do a lot of that stuff. But that's the deal, is I don't think a lot of people have explored it yet. It's only been out a week.
Right.
Because like here, this says, you choose face number 2 and give it brown eyes. But you can edit face number 2 and you could do it to make it a little bit more. It's just now one of the things it doesn't have, which 2Ks have, is the ability to share a create a wrestler.
Right.
And that would be something that would be really nice if there was a creation club, where you could share your creation and other people could download it. But you also can do create an arena, where you can design your own arena for events. And create.
Does that mean you can make the Tower of Doom?
Nope, because you're just creating the arena. You're not creating like a match itself. And so basically for that, what you're doing is you can choose what type of what design you want for the ring mat, what design you want for the mats outside the ring, for the
ropes, the entranceway,
turnbuckles, the guardrails. What you want them to look like and all that stuff,
and the weapons under the ring.
Weapons under the ring. What?
No, that might actually be from the wrestlers. Never mind.
That might be. To the side of the entrance ramp, you can put things like, I created one that I called Halloween Havoc, and the entrance ramp has like Gothic style, not Gothic style, but like ancient style stone entryways, sort of a thing. And then I put like gargoyles and dragon statues on the way down, things like that. But you don't have the ability to create a match type yet. However, they have found that in the code is most of the code for a Stadium Stampede match that is not currently unlocked. And so it's expected that that's going to be something that gets announced down the road as a DLC. Things like that. They said that their original goal for this was, rather than doing yearly iterations like the 2K games, they would prefer to release a game and do yearly updates to it. That may be DLC
sort of deal,
sort of a thing that might be paid sort of things, but to continually add to it down the road. And so eventually they want to be able to add almost all the wrestlers in AEW and all that stuff. Anyways, the long and the short of it is, it's a ton of fun for me to play. I know it's not going to be everyone's bag. If you're a 2K more sim style player, you're not going to enjoy this as much. But for me, I was sold the first time I watched videos of someone it was 4 people playing a 4-way match, and they were just laughing nonstop as they played, because that's not something that I see happen with the 2K games. This was a ball. And so I just had a ball. I created a female version of Orange Cassidy called Tangerine Cassandra.
Of course you did.
And that to me, it's intuitive once you learn the motions for like hitting the special moves, doing the taunts while the person's down, to building your special meter up so you can hit your finisher. It's a lot of fun. So, but on that note, 2.5 hours almost of this podcast. WWE Money in the Bank was a fun show. We're gonna have another WWE event here before we have our next AEW event. So it'll be a while before we can go head to head again, but it was a lot of fun, and hopefully we will be back again in a couple days for our thing. We're probably gonna be late because Tuesday in Murica is blow shit up night, and
Yep.
I'm not sure if DA Fabe is gonna be wanting to do
I'm done blowing stuff up.
a podcast. I've got to see whether my wife wants to take my daughter somewhere to see stuff blow up. We may be live Tuesday night or we may not be. We'll get that figured out.
Right.
We weren't live this last week because I think mental health days were needed all around. So
Absolutely.
But on that note, we're going to go ahead and close the book on the review of Money in the Bank 2023. You can make sure to support us through all the ways, like sharing and subscribing, like hitting us with bits or with tips or buying merch from our merch stores. Links are in the doobly-doos, or following us on the social media. You can follow me at Raw and Order WBU, like it says there. You can follow DA Fabe at
David's Kayfabe, like it says there, only on Twitter.
And you can follow JLB at
twitch.tv/JLBTLC25, where you can see me get more into AEW Fight Forever. Because I want to unlock Owen Hart, so that's going to be my mission.
But on that note, we're going to close the book. Thank you all for joining us. We will see you soon.
Bye.
Deuces.